Hello and welcome to another episode here on Marsinger Homies Recap and Review Podcast. My name is Marsinger Homie, content creator and the host of Marsinger Homies Recap and Review Podcast, where I talk about TV, music, celebrities, and so much more. If you're listening to this on Spotify and it's your first time listening to my podcast, please download the episode, follow the podcast, and hit that notification bell so you don't miss anything when a new episode is on the podcast. And if you're watching this on my YouTube channel, please subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything when an upload is on the channel. And remember, you can always follow me on my social media platforms, which is my Instagram at MarsingerHomie and my YouTube channel, which is MarsingerHomie. All of it is visible on the thumbnail of this podcast if you're listening on Spotify. Now, today we've got a very different video to what I normally do on my podcast, and it's bit of a very sensitive and very serious topic I want to discuss here, and that is mental health. Now, I think we all know that mental health is something that impacts people many occasions in day-to-day life all around the world, and I think this here is the most appropriate time for me to not only just talk about it, but I want to kind of share my experience of having mental health issues. As for those who don't know me, I actually have ADHD, meaning I struggle with a lot of things, with like kind of gaining my emotions, regulating them, also with change, feeling overwhelmed. And for me, ADHD is a very difficult thing to have, but also it's also helped me to be the person I am today. And not only I wanted to talk about mental health on today's episode on my podcast, but I want to take the opportunity to talk about an audition that happened on American Idol this week, actually, of Julian Kalel. If I'm pronouncing the name wrong, I do apologize. But his inspiring story left me in tears when I first watched his audition. And I think not only I just want to talk about his audition, but I want to show my appreciation to him, as not only he's a great songwriter, but he's just an amazing human being from what I've seen. So buckle up, and I just want to say, if anyone out there is struggling with their mental health, please remember that you're not alone. It's absolutely okay to go out and speak to someone, and I just want you to just be strong, stay resilient, and just remember you are worth it. And without any further ado, let's talk about Julian Kalel's American Idol audition and discuss more about mental health. So to start things off, let's talk a little bit about his audition, which happened this Monday. So it's, of course, like I mentioned at the start, his name is Julian, and he is from El Paso, Texas. He's aged 19, and believe it or not, he actually auditioned last year on American Idol when he was aged 18 with his sister, Carissa, who was here for this year on Monday, where she played alongside him. And they basically showed a segment in his VT where he sang an original song called Surrender, basically with his sister playing the violin alongside him. And from what the clip I saw, it was honestly just really beautiful. And the judges said yes to him. He got a golden ticket, but unfortunately, prior to appearing on Hollywood Week, he actually dropped out of the competition due to him battling with his mental health. And he mentioned that he had been struggling with his anxiety, with his battling depression, and just he mentioned that, he was going through such a really hard time, and just just it's just heartbreaking hearing people with these heartbreaking stories about mental health, because it's true, because mental health impacts people every single day. And he mentioned that he actually was diagnosed with anxiety and depression in his freshman year of high school, but he had been struggling with those feelings for a big part of his life, even through elementary school and middle school as well. And even his mom remembered the moment where he told her that he was just in a really bad place. And it's just so heartbreaking, because it's just, I think people who struggle with mental health, they don't know why they're feeling that way, and that's what makes it even more upsetting. Because and just, I think for him to be so open about his what he'd gone through, it's it's just so commendable for him. And I have so much respect for him for doing what he did and just opening up like that, just being And I just think he's just a beautiful soul, and he's to see how far he's came within that year is just truly just incredible. Now, this is the point in the episode of today's podcast where I want to open up and talk to you guys about what I've gone through for the past year or so with my mental health, because honestly, it's been such a challenge. Because for the past year, I have gone through so many phases where I didn't feel like I was worthy. I was always feeling kind of upset. I was feeling anxious, overwhelmed, scared, and oftentimes I didn't know how to process those emotions, which made it so much more challenging for me. And it was just, and I didn't know why I was necessarily feeling that way in the first place. Like, it just sometimes it just happened to me in a split second, and I went through phases that where I just thought to myself, maybe it's better I'm not here anymore. Maybe I should just forgive up. But it's it's so difficult for me because, as I mentioned before, I have ADHD. I struggle a lot with ADHD, especially, I'm 18 now. I struggle a lot with it. And when your emotions take over, it's just such a hard feeling to go through. Like, you don't know why you're feeling that way. And that was me. I really struggled with how I spoke to people, how I at times I was just really worried that if I just, I kind of kept it inside of me, because I didn't want to like really talk to many people about it, because I kind of felt I would have been like, oh, it's a bit silly of me to talk about how I'm feeling towards others, just over just feeling these emotions. But I've recently found out that it's actually a good thing, because when you speak to people, you actually open up way more, and you get the platform just to speak to someone. And I just think it's so important in this generation, because people all over the world are battling with mental health issues, and some people have even lost their lives due to having mental health issues. And it's just so tragic, and I've gone through moments where I wanted to self harm myself, and I unfortunately did. But the fact I've made this progress within a year is just so I should be proud of that. I'm very proud of myself of how far I've came as a person. And just, yeah, it's difficult, because it's the first time I've actually spoken to you guys about this on my podcast. So it's very weird of me to talk to you in this, because it's not normally my type of episode I do on the podcast. But I think it's just very important for me to speak, just to tell you guys what I've been through over the past year. And I really want to connect with people. I just want to help people. I want people to be happy. I just, because sometimes we're in a world where we all feel upset. We don't know why we're feeling this way. I just think we just need happiness these days, and that's what I want to bring to people. If anyone's battling mental health, suicidal thoughts, I just want to help people, just to reassure them that they're good enough, they are strong, they deserve to be here. And I just want to help. I just want to inspire people. I want to help people, and I just want to connect with people who may be struggling like me. And I just think this episode on the podcast is something I wanted to do this for a little while, but didn't know when would be the best time to. But I think it was really worth it to do it, to talk about my experience of my mental health and the thing I've gone through. Because I'm feeling a bit. I am feeling better now. Of course, I'll have dips there and then, where I will go. I will have moments where I just get so overwhelmed, but I don't want to let that affect on my life, because I want to live my life to the most amazing it can be, because I'm such a determined person. I love doing what I do, doing this podcast, doing this episode for you guys, and I just think that I'm just grateful to be here, to be sitting here right now, doing this podcast episode, filming this episode, and getting to talk to you guys and connect with people who may be struggling with mental health. I just want to, and that's really why I wanted to do this episode, because I just want to open up what I've gone through, and I want to reassure people that if you just speak to someone, it will be completely okay. And I just want people to know that they are amazing people, no matter what they're doing. And just don't be afraid to speak to people. That's what I say. Just don't be afraid to speak to people, and I promise you, you will make it, and it will be amazing. So let's now talk about the actual audition he did this Monday. Julian's audition he did with his sister alongside him. So he did his own original song called "Lone Guitar." It's basically the story. Basically a song about what he's gone through with his mental health over the past year, with his anxiety and depression, and his sister was playing the violin alongside him. And it honestly, it moved me to tears when I watched the performance, because the fact he was capable of being so open about his story and just opening up about it, it's so commendable. And the judges were, of course, were really emotional. I just think I'm so glad that he actually auditioned that this week, because this has given him the platform to inspire so many people. Not only that, but I just think he could help. He's just an amazing. I just think he's a really beautiful person. I just think he's just, there's no other words I could describe him, because I just think he's just such a huge inspiration. I think he's a role model, and I think what he's gone through and being able to express that in a song like that is just truly songwriting artistry for me. Because, and also, I just think he's a great songwriter as well. He's so good at writing songs. It makes you feel really in the moment when you hear him. When I heard him, at least, I just think he's just a wonderful talent, and I could see him going really far in the competition. Definitely, at least in the top 5. I think. You see, I don't often talk about American Idol, but I have been watching bits of it of this season, and this and quite a few others as well. Another one was Chloe Grace, who wrote an original song for a young 13-year-old who unfortunately took her life to suicide a few years ago, and she actually never got to meet her. So she basically wrote that song as a tribute to her, even though she didn't get to meet her, and it was just so emotional. And I'm actually thinking of maybe talking a bit about that on the podcast maybe very soon. But it was such a moving audition. And also Hannah Harper as well. She had a very emotional audition with her story about what she had gone through, her mental health and depression and other stuff. It's just, you see, mental health, I know people who have gone through so much crap with their mental health, and it's the worst thing anyone can go through, where you feel like you don't know who to turn to, you don't know who to speak to, and you just feel trapped. It's the worst feeling. And I mentioned earlier, I've been through that situation before, and it's the most horrible feeling you could feel, as you just feel like you're just trapped and you don't know who to speak to. But I think it's just absolutely, it's just so sad to think that people, even people, sometimes they lose their lives. They take their own lives just because they don't want to, they don't want to, they don't want it, they don't want it to continue. And I've heard stories, over the years, of people who have had suicidal thoughts, and thankfully they seeked help. And from some the stuff I've heard, they're now they're now living an amazing life, which is amazing. But also, it comes with a very tragic end, because some people unfortunately will take their lives just because they don't want it they just want it to end. And it's just so difficult to process. And I just think Julian is such a huge role model and inspiration to anyone out there who is battling mental health issues and suicidal thoughts, because I've been through that situation before. It is not at all a nice feeling at all. And just for him to share that song with him, it was just so beautiful. And I just want to say, and to end off this episode on the podcast, I just want to say, if anyone out there is battling with mental health, or is struggling with suicidal thoughts, and just they feel like they're in a really dark place, I just want to let you know that don't be afraid to speak to anyone. Please reach out to someone, talk to someone how you're feeling, because I promise you, I don't care if it's your family, your friends, a psychiatrist, a therapist, anyone, please reach out to someone, because I promise you, it will make a huge difference. And I promise you, you will make it through, and you will succeed. You will achieve all the goals you want in life. If you just talk to someone how you're feeling, it will make a huge difference. And I want to and again, if anyone out there is struggling, and is afraid to speak to someone, I want you to. These are two phone lines I want you to, mental health lines I want you to contact. So the first one is Campaign Against Living Misery, which is also known as CALM, and it's basically a suicidal prevention charity, where it's basically that provides life-saving services and practical mental health to support anyone who needs it. So, and also another one, which is Mental Health America, And this one is also, it's America's leading national non-profit dedicated to the promotion of mental health, well-being, and other like suicidal thoughts. And just, it's both these helplines are made to help people who are battling with mental health or struggling with suicidal thoughts. And I will link all both these helplines in the description of this episode of the podcast. So if anyone is having these thoughts and they want to speak, if they want to reach out to one of these lines, I will leave a link to it down below. So you can check it out if anyone here who listens to this podcast is battling through this. But I just want to end this episode here and just to say thank you so much for listening to this episode on my podcast. As you know, I was thinking of whether I should be doing this, but at the same time, I think it was the best choice I made, because it's not only I got to talk about mental health a bit more, but I got to open up about my experience of struggles. And I just want I know that the people out there who are indeed struggling with their mental health, and there still are, but I just want to clarify that if you speak to someone, it will make everything so much better. So please, whoever's listening to this right now, if they're battling with mental health, suicidal thoughts, or other anxiety or anything, please reach out to someone, whether it be your family, your friends, a therapist, a loved one, or anyone that you know and trust. Please reach out to them and talk to them how you feel, because I promise you, it will make a huge difference. And I just know you will succeed if you speak to someone. Your life will just be amazing for going forward. But thank you very much for listening to this very, very different episode here on my podcast. And remember, if you're listening to this if you're listening to the podcast on Spotify, please download the episode and follow the podcast so you don't miss anything when a new episode is out. But once again, thank you so much for listening to this very different episode here on Mastering a Homies Recap and Review podcast, of me talking about mental health as well as discussing it. And of course, I will see you guys next time. Stay safe and remember, you are worth it.